Hi, it's Jason at Fraser Valley Rose Farm again, and I was out here digging some holes anyway, so I thought I might take the opportunity to try to dispel a rose myth that I think is out there. It's how to plant your roses, and I guess the expression kind of goes like this: why plant a $20 rose in a 50-cent hole? And it's to encourage gardeners, and I can see them using it to go, okay, I got to dig a big hole and put in bone meal and blood meal and alfalfa meal and bat guano and compost and manure and all sorts of other stuff to try to improve this big hole for this rose so that it will have a way better chance of surviving. And that's just not the case. I'm going to show you a couple of holes here, and I'm going to show you why it isn't true in my view. Okay, here I am in my garden. I have over here my big expensive hole for the simulation, and over here my little cheap hole. So the big expensive hole, one thing that I'm going to say about it first of all is I'm going to take a rose here from my greenhouse and try to put that down there, and what you're going to see is that is way too deep. Or if what I do is I pack it with a bunch of soil and bring it up to this level, it's going to be rockering around in there. It's not going to be sitting on a solid base of firm native soil. It's going to be rocking around. So when you get wind or that kind of thing, that's a problem. So the next thing I'm going to do here, if I can do this one-handed, is I'm actually going to go ahead and put some good organic soil in here. So this is just some bagged soil, actually good organic soil that I keep around the nursery here for potting soil and that. And putting it in. And the first question I'm going to ask is, can you tell the difference? I sure can. And so can the roots of your plant. Actually, what's inside there is going to serve like a big container. The roots are going to grow easily through that soil, establish well in that soil, but they're going to basically stop at the edge. So around this outer edge, wherever there's a margin between one type of soil and another type of soil, both roots and moisture have a hard time penetrating that barrier. So even as water comes in from rain, it's going to percolate down and fill up this soil here. But when it tries to drain out into what is, in my case, kind of a heavy, silty soil, it's actually going to pause and wait a long time in here, which over the winter is like prime for root death. Excuse me while I wait for an airplane to go by. So the next thing I'm going to say is that when you get into the winter and you have wind loads or snow loads, and if the roots haven't established into the native soil, what's going to happen is your rose is going to tend, under the weight of wind or snow, if the roots haven't established beyond that hole, to tip or break or suffer root damage. Now, I'm going to show you my little cheap hole with basically native soil. If I drop my rose in there, dropping down to level there, it's actually pretty close to a good level for planting. And it's nice and firm against the base of the hole. The native soil is firm. Second thing I'm going to say is I'm going to backfill basically just with the native soil. What I want to do is I want to encourage this rose to establish itself firmly into the native soil before it has to deal with winter winds or snow load or that kind of thing. So that's the point, is to get it well established firmly into native soil. And I may, while I'm doing this, throw in something like bone meal or that kind of thing just to help it to get a good start. But what I'll do afterwards is I will mulch and I will top dress with fertilizer. So that's fine. You can get all your fertilizer you need into there that way. I'm going to say one other thing, and it's going to be about organics. And here I'm not talking big O organic like trademark, we restrict inputs so that we can charge you more for organic tomatoes or organic peppers. I'm talking organic as in organic matter. which is anything that came from plants or living material before it. So here I am talking about peat and manure and compost and that kind of thing, is that as this stuff begins to break down, which it does, its final stable state is called humus, but it's much smaller. And so what you end up with is void being built around the rows here. So once again, it detracts from the stability of your rows. So I would not choose this hole. I would choose this hole. I would backfill with basically my native soil, which is fine. It's reasonably fertile, and it drains well, and so that's fine for siting a rose. And I would dispense with the myth, don't plant your $20 rose in a 50-cent hole. I think the 50-cent hole is more worth your money.